Okay, I've been making a lot of bowls lately, and I think I've settled on how I like to glue up wood. And I think the best way for me to do it when I want to create a large stock piece, in this case 12 inches by 12 inches by 4.75 inches tall, which is pretty big. I like to glue up flat the flat grain, the flat face, I guess, on smaller pieces first, and then I can go ahead and joint those edges and glue them together second. I can use my clamp jigs to align the clamps to be perfectly parallel to each other, and that just ensures everything will come out pretty straight. And this works really well for gluing stuff together and keeping it aligned. And my goal here is to create a consistent glue line where they all line up really straight and have the glue lines be as small as possible. But the hard part is how to square up something that's almost 5 inches tall, because a table saw blade wouldn't be able to cut it unless you do a couple passes, which does work, and I do that, but the bandsaw also works pretty well. And it's okay to have a rough edge because I'm going to be machining almost all of it away anyways. I feel like I always want to know how people design things and what software they used. And for this bowl, I designed it in Rhino 8. Now Rhino can't do any toolpaths, so I had to import it into Fusion 360, which is my preferred CAM software. Now I'm going to use my CNC machine with my typical two-side machining operations that I kind of developed for doing deep and big bowls. And what I like doing is wiping off the area that I'm going to stick down really well with a little bit of acetone, and that way any dust and whatnot just gets moved away and you get a better adhesion. I then use double-sided tape to stick it on down. Usually my first few tries I'll use more tape than is really necessary, and if it's really hard to remove, I could probably use less tape for the second operation. The things that are really key here, which I've talked about before, are to scrape the tape down really hard before you remove the backing, attach it down to a temporary spoil board, and in this case it's just a piece of MDF that's maybe half an inch wider on each side, and use some clamps to clamp it down. This just makes it squish down really tight. And I found if I don't do this, I will have the tape sometimes lift up. So this is really an essential part of my process. I push the wood stock and my temporary spoil board up against the black dogs on my table, and it's really important to get really tight for alignment purposes at this point. And then I clamp it down with my little 3D printed clamps and the little extra space on the side of the mini spoil board that I left specifically for this reason. And if it's not obvious, the first operation I like to do is the bottom and outside of the bowl. And I do this because it gives me a large flat surface, the bottom of the bowl, to attach down for the second operation. And one thing that you'll notice is I actually drilled little alignment holes directly into the bottom of the bowl. And I did this because there's a lot of space to do it, and they're pretty easy to plug up. Some hardwood wedges make it pretty easy to remove the bowl from the bottom of the temporary spoil board. And another reason I like to use the temporary spoil board is I can drill the corresponding alignment holes directly into it and not get a bunch of holes on my regular spoil board, which I was kind of starting to get tired of seeing. And those holes are for alignment on the second operation, so I put 1/4 inch wood dowels directly into them and use them for alignment. I can then use double-sided tape on the bottom just like I did before. I put tape down, I scrape it down really hard, take off the backing, temporarily and quickly squish it all together with some clamps, and then I can remount it down on my table, pushing hard against the dogs again. And this process gives me a really consistent alignment for the second operation, the top and the inside of the bowl. One thing that you want to keep in mind is you don't want to reset that X and Y because you want to have it all be relative to the first cut, in particular the cut of where you made those alignment holes in the temporary spoil board. As I'm doing a new tool path, I'll frequently pop the dust boot cover off. That way I can see what's happening and make sure I'm not going to have any collisions. And usually I won't have any collisions with the actual bit, but the problem that I'll have is the The dust shoe will potentially collide with stuff because I'm doing such a deep carve with it. So as you watch the time lapse, you'll see me actually pull the brush off a few times, put it back on, pull it off again, and whatnot. And what I really need to do is just find a brush that's a lot longer, and that way I don't have to deal with this. So I end up making 3 of these bowls. And on the first one, I realized I could improve the tool paths a little bit. And Fusion 360 makes this pretty easy to do by providing lots of different toolpath options that can do complex rust machining. And I was seeing a lot of jitter marks in between some of the little areas, and I could solve that by doing a cleanup toolpath using a pencil toolpath in Fusion, and that really solved a lot of the problems. I also realized some of those problems were actually caused by my controller. And so on the last one, I moved from Mach 4 over to Centroid on my Avid CNC. And the Centroid controller gives a lot smoother results. Not perfect, and moving to servo motors from stepper motors would probably give me even better results, but I can't quite justify that cost yet. Now, even with improving the tool paths and moving to the new controller, I still did have to do a bit of hand sanding. In particular, where the top and the bottom met, there are just areas where the bits couldn't quite get into. And I really designed this project with regular 3-axis machining in mind, but still the bit can't get quite everywhere. One of the last things I had to address were those alignment dowel holes on the bottom of the bowl. And I just made some plugs that could fit into them. On my cherry bowls, I just used regular 1/4-inch dowels made out of, I don't know, whatever wood they were, because it didn't matter too much. On my walnut bowl, I machined out some pegs to actually fit directly into them. Now, on anything that might have food put into it, I want to use a food-safe finish, and my preferred one is Osmo Top Oil, which is supposed to be food-safe, at least it says so on the thing, so I'll trust it, but it does still smell a little bit bad, so I like to wear a mask when I put it on. And my general process is to use a brush to kind of push the finish into all the little nooks and crannies, and then I would go ahead and use a rag to wipe most all of it off and let it dry. I put on a total of 3 coats, and that gives you kind of a nice satin finish with this particular type of finish. So what you don't see in a video like this are the number of hours I put into it. Yeah, it's probably about 12 hours of CNC machining time, but a lot of other hours just prep and sanding and finishing. And the design took me probably a week or so. I think I'll make my CAD files available, so check the description for where to get them from. The walnut one is still on my finishing table. I'll have one of these bowls available for sale. Check my site, it'll either be cherry or walnut. As usual, thanks for watching.